as always, he is a beloved mentor of our Samiti. So we will commence today's session with some Vedic chanting. So I would request all of you to sit up straight and repeat with me. Asato ma sadgamaya Tamaso ma jyotirgamaya Mritturma amritam gamaya Om Shanti 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 So now I would request Maharajji to light the lamp and begin today's session on an auspicious note. I would request Professor Gayan to facilitate Maharajji. So I would request Swami Mahaprajnananda Maharaj to take the stage and begin today's session.
Hello. I hope I'm audible to everyone. Respected Revered Srimad Swami Mahaprajnananda Maharaj, I offer my humble pranam to Belur Math, other Brahmachari Maharajas from Ramakrishna Mission Ashrama Kanpur, and respected faculty members and research scholars and dear students, undergraduate and postgraduate students. So my namaskar to all of you. So today, actually when I was informed to share this particular idea with you, I felt very happy because this is perhaps, I feel this is the need of the hour. And I will talk around maybe 40 minutes? Okay. 35 to 40 minutes. And afterwards, I'll be very happy if you have some question. Definitely, I'm sure you will have. So, as our auditor told that yes, I like very much to interact with young people. Actually, for the first time I am here in Kanpur, uh, but in Kharagpur and other places also in West Bengal. Just now we have come to know that I am from Calcutta. So the name of our college, this is an autonomous college, autonomous postgraduate college, and I'm very happy to. The name of the college is Ramakrishna Mission Vidyamandira, and I'm very happy to share with you the fact that from our college, number of students every year they join this very renowned, prestigious institute, Indian Institute of Technology, Kanpur. And in this gathering also, my joy knows no bounds seeing a number of my students, ex-students, they are here. And many of them came and met me earlier also. So this is briefly about the institution in which I belong. Right now I am in the office of the principal. And this very name, I think it will be very relevant to inform you before going to my discussion. This very name, Vidyamandira, was the coinage of Swami Vivekananda. In writing it is available that Swamiji could foresee. So while discussing, a very informal discussion, one of his disciples, students actually, so he mentioned that here will come up one institute where the students from different parts of this country and from different parts of the world at large will come and they'll be educated in both secular and spiritual education. So it's like that. And in 1941, our institution started. So before going to my discussion, since this is also an academic forum, let me briefly introduce myself. I am a monk of Ramakrishna order, so my name and my dress, and you all are very much, acquainted to having Swamis, very frequently having Swamis from our Ramakrishna mission. But I studied biological science. I was a student of zoology and molecular biology in Calcutta University, and my area of research was agrobiotechnology. And even today, I regularly take classes. I share my ideas with the students. Because of right now my administrative responsibility, for a few years I am out of publication and research. But with this, I continue. And there in Vidyamandira, we have two biological science departments, microbiology and zoology, and I'm associated to that. Well, without further delay, I'll go to today's topic of discussion. Now, that's a question, moot question. Can one be scientific and yet spiritual? The answer is yes, very much. And it is very much possible to be scientific as well as spiritual simultaneously. And I must say that it is not only possible, this is the need of the hour, and it is also desirable. And spirituality, it, making our survival, not only our personal life, but our collective life also. We all are, social people. So it makes our life better. And what is spirituality? If we, very briefly, if we see that this is an inner quest. Science, as I am also a student of science, or any other knowledge, it is initially having facts, knowledge. But this knowledge, spirituality, it is objective, I repeat, it is objective as long as we perceive it as facts. But the aim of the spirituality, it is a journey going inward. It's a different sort of journey. And what is the outcome of this journey? It is amazing, you know. Swami Vivekananda, in my later slides, I will show you. Swami Vivekananda very nicely depicted. It helps to understand, make you understand that how much potential do you have. We actually don't know how much potential we have. From the standpoint of a biologist, I can tell you, in our brain, can anyone tell me how much percent, area of our brain is actually there are two halves, cerebral hemispheres, right? Cerebrum. So how much cells, percentage of cells are active in our brain? In a super brain also, brain like Einstein, maybe the giants, giants. So how much?
10%.
Not even that. Just 5 to 6%, and maximum. There are research actually. There are on the super brains. How much? So rest of the cells in our brain, they are not that much active. So we don't know. So Swamiji very nicely depicted that what is education? Education is a manifestation of the perfection already in man. We never know what potential we have. So spirituality, the practice of spirituality helps us to make us aware of our inner potential. And a spiritual person, again, who sincerely practices spirituality, he or she will definitely feel gradually this, manifestation of that potential. And it is, very much, as I told, there are two approaches, one is Occidental and that is Oriental. So I include myself too, since I'm also heading one academic institute. So what we are doing actually, this Occidental approach, I consider our students in a class or any kind of sharing knowledge, we consider that it's a tabula rasa. Their minds are empty and we are just making some scratch. It's like a clean slate and we are making some scratch. It's like this. But the concept of Orient is absolutely different from this. And what is that? What Swamiji said. It is considered, you'll be surprised to know, it is considered, it's a kind of, simile. It is considered just like a film picture. Now, with a lead atop, a picture, a lead atop. Now, as long as there is a lead and it is kept here, you don't know outside whether it is filled or it is empty, because it is having a lead. Now, the education is gradually to uncovering that picture so that one can understand, no, it is not empty, it is actually full. That is education. Gradually unfolding your power, gradually unfolding that capacity, your ignorance, gradually removing the ignorance that I don't know. I repeat, we think we don't know, but education is, our concept, Oriental concept is to clean or to eradicate that darkness of ignorance that I don't know. This. It's Swamiji said, it's a beautiful concept of education. Swamiji said, education is not knowing. This is a kind of discovery. We discover that we don't know, that we discover. Then that is called education. So that is the approach. And this is, very fundamental steps, concept of spirituality. And you see how scientific it is. Very scientific. And you see, we see that historically, this point I made here, historically, whenever we see the spiritual people, I am taking example from India, so they were absolutely scientific. I'll tell you. So first, I must name one person. I don't know, there is debate that whether he was a person or it was at a school. Patanjali. Patanjali is yoga. So Patanjali, Maharshi Patanjali, uh, he wrote beautiful sutras. It's called Yoga Sutra, you know that. And based on that Yoga Sutra, there are bhashyas of Vyasa. And there was, in 19th century, there was a very, very scholarly man who wrote some commentary on this. His name is Hariharananda Haranya, very scholarly person. Now, if you read the Yoga aphorism, you will find step 1, 2, 3, just like, again, I'm also very much fond of you, experiment, observation, inference. Everything is so nicely, beautifully documented. If you do this first step, for example, I tell you, sitting straight. Just Auditro, a few minutes back, he told, sitting straight. Huh? In Bhagavad Gita also it is mentioned, Samankaya Shiragriva. So your head, your body, if it is kept in a straight posture, it helps to your mind to become more concentrated, right? So it is just like experiment, observation, inference. It will take you in that way. But unfortunately, the language, we are fortunate enough, but unfortunately, I'm very sorry to say, the language is Sanskrit, and almost all of us, we are not that much, say I'm also a student of science, so we are not that much proficient in that Sanskrit. But there are translations, and if you read this, you'll be astonished to see. So they have actually, and I'll tell you, tremendous experiments for thousands of years, for centuries. Over the centuries have been done on not only by Patanjali. There are people who did, this journey towards your own self. Tremendous research over the centuries, and they have their conclusion. So just like that, and I mentioned here. You see, what is the reasoning, powerful observation, validation, and verification. So as a student of science, we are very much fond of that, So what is that? Vedanta, there is a concept, what is called unification, unique platform, one reality. So one reality, what is that one type of reality? Ultimately, what is the end to that ultimate quest? What is the quest? The end to that quest is coming to landing on one platform of one reality. And what is that uniqueness, oneness? It is not exactly the physicist who tries to explain many things today is a string theory, one of the modern theories, or one biologist. He's trying to find out, the nucleotide bases in DNA. A, T, G, C, adenine, guanine, thymine, cytosine. We call it the biology, the alphabets of life. It is not in that sense, but in one other sense. So it's a search of unity. And very quickly, I'll just mention this. There was some conflict from the pages of history. So this thing happened. We know Copernicus. So he published one book, and in those days in Europe, the church, it thought it went against their ideas, and finally came so his idea also, Copernicus' ideas, and his theory, what happened to his pathetic death, we know, and finally Galileo. So we know what happened with them. So that was not expected, but unfortunately it happened. But remember, there is a clear demarcation between, here I would like to mention that point, there is a clear demarcation between religiosity, religion, and spirituality. There is a demarcation. Can anybody tell me how religion and spirituality can be segregated or can be equated? Anybody? Anyone? Okay. Yeah.
Religion tends to be the am right, can't prove it part of the spiritual experience.
Okay.
Tends to be.
Okay. So, yeah.
In religion, they have to believe on something.
Okay, that part I'll come. No. Actually, spirituality is one of the most important part of the religion. but we can call it, religion is a huge dimension. It consists of some practices, some thing to make these ideas popular. But spirituality, in one word, we can say it's a core of religion, the foundation of religion, on which religion stands. But this is not all about, but the foundation core. So, spiritual mindset, this is very important here, very quickly. So, what is the spiritual mindset? So, you see, here, as I mentioned, though, what are the modern challenges in today's world, the spiritual mindset? So, modern science actually brought about huge changes. And the spirituality, as I told, it's an inner journey. And this makes us aware of that fact that we have enough potential. Let me give one example. One of two students from that same department is here in this gathering also. I was taking one class. It was, second year students. So they were the students of industrial chemistry. So while discussing, there was raised a question. I asked them, what is your idea about the science and technology in ancient India? That was the discussion. While discussing the topic, subject, actually I take one of the classes, industry and environment interface. So one student stood and he said, Maharaj, there was nothing. That was full of superstition and all. And I said, being a student of science, you should not tell, because the student of science always accepts something after verification. Do you know about ancient Indian mathematics? Have you heard the name of Aryabhatta? I say, yes. Have you heard the name of Varahamihir? Do you know about Sushruta? Do you know about Charaka? Then he said, yes. Then how can you say like that? You see, this is a kind of, system, what actually being influenced. They are being influenced by this type of thought, which is, going here and there. And especially, I told that time that Indian universities in 10th, 11th century, even before that, number of students from Europe, from China, they were so eager to take admission to our Indian universities, the 3rd century Gupta period, and in 10th, 11th century even, Atish Dipankar Shrikyan, I think you heard his name, and he was the Acharya Mahamopadhyaya of all these, both the Bihar and all these universities, and that was knowledge hub. Right now, almost in this gathering also, and my college also students, almost Indian students, they have dream, almost all of them, majority, they have their dream to go to maybe MIT and all other US and European universities. It was just a reverse, you see. So, and I don't think it will be out of context. How many of you visited for the first time? Once only I went, Kailash temple. From Bhopal it is few kilometers. Any one of you have visited? Okay, if you have not, if you have find some time, you visit there. When I saw this rock temple for the first time, no worship, no religious practices there, no more. Just it is, some memorial type, it's there. I was stunned, though I'm not student of engineering. I was just looking at how such a, more than 1800 years back, those temples were built, and even today, they are there. Tanjavur, there is a huge temple, it's called Brihadeshwara. So the Shiva, forget about the religion. I'm talking about just the architecture. If you see some 1,000 tons is the top of this temple, 1,000 tons. So one big slab is there, and that temple was being repeatedly attacked by intruders. They could not break it. So it is. You see. Then I told the students. So India, it reached the pinnacle of science, technology, engineering, and I'm not telling you telling you stories. It's a fact. It's fact. Shushruta Samhita, if you read, you will find all the theory of prosthesis, operation, everything. Anyway, so then I told the student that, you see, one country, one religion, one system which could develop itself to that height in science, in technology, how can you think that they did not know how to manage how to address their inner problems? Do you think that society was problem free? Never. Problems were always there. Today morning we had a very friendly discussion with Revered Maharajji. So Maharaj was telling, see, this way, we cannot, it is very difficult to get rid of problems. But we have to know how to address the problem. So from that, spirituality starts actually. How to manage. Outwardly we can manage, but how to address. And that also, the scientists who work with human mind, intellect, they actually taught this way. And what do you know? Again, it will be Sanskrit. Indian language, how beautiful it is. You see, we Indians, we have thousands of language, right? You see, two Indians from two parts of India, if they come and meet together, hardly we have a common Indian language to talk. We have thousands of languages, right? If 100 kilometer, every 100 kilometer, that is India. Every 100 kilometer, language changes. But unfortunately, having so many language dialects, two Indians, frequently when they come and meet together, you can't guarantee. Two Indians, you see what language I am talking. See, language is absolutely niriha. It is very simple. But you see, what is the mode of communication? Anyway, so this is a type of impression has been made, you know. This is something called Eurocentrism. So all these things are there. Aryans, Swami Vivekananda, very, strictly he told, emphatically told, where it is written that Aryans, they are foreigners, they are intruders, where it is written. Have you, in a very Bengali, beautiful Bengali book is there, Swamiji's English and Bengali, Sanskrit, whatever he had written, very powerful language. So can you have any, proof to show that Aryans, they were intruders, they were invaders? Never. They were our own people. So their language, culture, and so on. So that is the one thing. So idea of spirituality, and so that is why. So people gradually, right now, people are coming back. People are coming back. So to where? Now everywhere you see this mind management, crash courses of meditation, Zen Buddhist, Zen meditation. So it is becoming popular. Why? Why it is popular? One incident I'll tell you. It was Robert Oppenheimer. After the explosion of atom bomb, they were celebrating in one party. Then one scientist in that particular group, he started vomiting. Then Oppenheimer said, it has started. Effect is started. And finally, so he left afterwards, and one of his nice statements, I'll read. He said, we cannot forget our fellow men. I mean also our deep moral dependence in that value of science must lie in the world of men, that all roots lie there. So that was Robert Oppenheimer. So anyway, so that is the scientific mindset. Now, another part here, this slide, he said faith, he mentioned. Some faith which is verifiable. Some faith. No, there is not this God or something like that. Whenever the God is unattainable, so we must say here, Swamiji also mentioned one thing we need, what we call Shraddha. Here, just 2-3 minutes I'll take to explain this very important concept of Shraddha. So, what is Shraddha? Shraddha is one of the disciplines, it is mentioned, and this is whatever you do, if you do your mathematics, engineering, science, industry, business, whatever, this Shraddha is very, very essential. Rather, it is one of the best values rather than spirituality. Spirituality, in that sense, it will be little far cry. But this is values. And what is that? In it is scripture, it says, Shastreshu Guru Vakyeshu Vishvasa iti Shraddha. So, there was, I'll tell you one small story. So, it's a story. There was a small boy in one village, hundreds of years ago. So, in those days, people used to believe more yaga yajnas. So it was a village somewhere in India, and terrible crisis of water crisis and no rain. So the rural people in those days, they thought to do some yajna and vrishti kama. So if they do the puja, vrishti will come, rain will come. So one father, he told his small child, son, you see, there will be a ritual, yajna, and if the puja is done, so there will be rain. So the day, on that very day, when the father is going, hey, the puja has started, let us go. The small boy, he got hold of his hand and told, why are you not taking the umbrella? The father himself was astonished. Why umbrella? No, you told that day there will be rain. You see, this is, as the father said, he had that faith that if the father has said, there is something very substantial. So, in Bengali, Sri Ramakrishna said, Baloker moto Bishas. It's a faith of a small boy. Remember, again, it is not a dogmatic faith, nothing unreasoning faith. No, but this is a pure faith. Yes, my parents are telling, my teachers are telling, my mentors are suggesting something that is for my good, that will have something good stuff inside. That is called Shraddha. So this is one of the most important thing in that. So Shraddha is quite important. I'll go to next slide and tell you one thing. Suppose one in our all, let us go back, riding a time machine to our school days. So our teachers come into the classroom. Hey, this is A. A for apple, B for ball, C for cycle. Now you see, if we would not have believed his word, this is called A. Let us go to our 6th standard, algebra. X can take any value. 1 is 1, but X, this is a variable number, it can take any value of constant. I'm also a student of science like you. What will you call it? Is it not a faith? If a person does not believe this stands for A, how can he enjoy in later life Shakespeare, Shelley, Byron and Keats? If I don't believe that this is X can take any value from Euclidean space, how can we jump to Hilbert space? So that is also thing. But here we believe, because what? We have teachers, we have books, we have institutes to teach that. So we have faith, yes, we know. So there is a very, time is running out. You heard of the famous scientist, Professor Shothen Boshu, right? So he studied in Calcutta, one of his friends. So his name was Anadi Maharaj. So they were close friends. So they were both students in the Presidency College. Later, Anadi Maharaj left his career and he joined just like us. So he was heading one of the ashrama. But they had a very good relation. So Shothen Bose was very rationalist in that sense. So he went on to meet his friend and he asked, what are you doing? All these things. Can you explain? Then, and that very year, that famous Bose-Einstein, this boson, Higgs boson, not Bose-Einstein theorem has come out. Then there was a small boy in that ashram. Then his friend, well, can you explain your theory to this boy? Being a student of physics, how can you tell such silly things? Why? It's your theorem. Can't you? Has he any preparation? He's a small boy. You also need preparation to understand what it is. Now, why we believe? You see, Our teachers, that X can take any value. Schools, our biology teacher told me, oh, this is a cell. Look at this cell. And beyond taking the cell one slide from our squamous epithelium, this is the cell, what we call squamous cell, this is nucleus. If I stop believing there, right now, what we do in our lab regularly, blotting, Western blot, DNA, quantification of DNA, isolate, would not have done. So, therefore, why we believe? Because there are institutes. But here also, in this world, there are teachers, there are institutes. So, these are the modern challenges. And I'll just tell one or two incidents from the life of Sri Ramakrishna. So, what are the testimony that these things happen? Our teachers are there. For example, I'll tell you, one testimony is there. What is the proof? One single proof. It's called Shastra, Shruti Pramana. The teachers are there who establish, just like the science, establish spirituality. For example, I have 3-4 students here. Anubhav is sitting here, Shandipan is sitting there. If somebody asks, one of you ask me, what was the proof that you teach in Vidyamandira? My students are there. They also attended my class there. So you have to accept their words. That is a testimony. Right? They are the proof. So like that, I'm just giving you one example. There are people, proficient people, who recorded all their experiments in this world too. That's how I see. Look at this. And believe me, if you start reading also, you will find the same approach. Unfortunately, we don't read. I would not have the opportunity to read, just like you, many of you. I would have doing my experiment in Calcutta University in my student days I was very happy with, DNA, RNA, and like that. Enhancer RNA, doing all these things. But anyway, if you read, you will find how scientific this approach is. So that is the thing. So ultimately, Sri Ramakrishna's, his life is very unique. So what he did actually, very scientific method. And he very emphatically told that yes, the God really, really exists. Now, one of his, very sincere students, disciples, Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda. So he approached Sri Ramakrishna. Directly he asked him, you see the question. Narendranath was a student of Presidency College, later Scottish Church College, and so on. So he was very much influenced by the Western agnostics, Samshayavadi. He directly approached his teacher, did this question. He told, have you seen God? Unfortunately, Narendranath, before Sri Ramakrishna, he asked many people the same question. Nobody could answer. But Sri Ramakrishna told, yes. Not only I have seen, you see the conviction. Not only I have seen, but I can show you even clearly. What I see, even clearly I saw. And if you want, I can show you also. Then he categorically mentioned, how is it possible? He said, yearning. Who wants to know? Swamiji very nicely told, if you have the faith on that very old word God, if you want to ignore it, okay, ignore it. But take it in that way. Who want to go inward? Who want to explore his or her own capability, own potential? Who wants? So, if you are sincere, only, you see how much to come to this stage, IIT Kanpur, how much hard work you have to do. If you recall, what hard work you have to do, right? Right from writing exams, competitive exams, and so on, because you wanted to be IIT, right? One of the member of this very prestigious institute of India. How much hard work you did. Sri Ramakrishna said, who wants to see? If you want, People are, actually this is his word, people are so much eager to earn money. They cry, so much eager, and to have this worldly enjoyment. Who wants to explore his own self? Very little. Who, if want somebody, and he proved in his life, if you see, Sri Ramakrishna is not a prehistoric man. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is not a prehistoric person. They have history. They have all records are there who actually lived with them. They recorded. So, and Sri Ramakrishna has photograph also. Mahaprabhu has no photograph, only portrait we have. But they have photographs. Even Shankaracharya. So, they have records actually. They recorded that he had so much longing to know. That's how he did it. To Sri Ramakrishna used to come, one scientist, you all know his name, because he is one of the founder of cultivation of science, Indian Association for Cultivation of Sciences. His name was Dr. Mahendralal Sarkar. He was a very famous scientist, acclaimed scientist that time. And he was full atheist, he had no faith on that. But he could not ignore that what words are coming from Sri Ramakrishna was so direct. So, as I told, he followed, Sri Ramakrishna exactly followed the experimental method. Once Narendranath, Swami Vivekananda, later Swami Vivekananda, once went and told him, see, whatever you see, these are hallucinations. He used to make comments like that. Sri Ramakrishna, hallucination? What are you talking? Then he again went back and finally, no, you are wrong. I have that conviction. He said, I went to temple and asked mother, I see whatever, is it hallucination? Then mother said, no, it is not hallucination. What he is telling is not, it is incorrect. Then he came, I said, it is not what you are telling, it is not correct. You see what it is. And finally, conviction. Even Mahendralal Sarkar, even used to come, Keshav Chandra Sen, Shivnath Shastri, and they were very big person in those. Keshav Chandra Sen, he was the foremost leaders of Brahma movement. Queen Victoria invited him to England. He is such a man of stature. Shivnath Shastri, one of the topmost scholars. They came to Sri Ramakrishna and they were so much influenced. So actually he established that Vidyate Hridaya Granthis Chidyante Sarva Samshaya. This is the scripture we find that if you have conviction, you don't have any doubt. Suppose you have a chapter of mathematics, you are very proficient. So seeing one problem, this, or physics, or seeing one problem, you can immediately, it happens actually. Many of you. So seeing the problem itself, we can go to the answer. You see, and if somebody challenges you, you say, you do it in your own. I practice this sum so many times, I can see the answer clearly. This is what is called conviction. And let the other boy do, or the girl do, and he or she will come to the same conclusion. From your experience, I came across many mathematics teachers in my life. Many teachers like that, physics. So some problem in our student, I was struggling. He said, hey, do this. The conviction. Then we had faith on the teacher. Yes, he practiced it in such a way. That's how Sri Ramakrishna could influence people, because he had that conviction. So it is that. And you see, to verify this, not only he practiced, but he practiced other disciplines also. And finally, he came to the great conclusion, Ekam Sat Vipra Bahudha Vadanti. The truth is one, as I told, and the last one, as many faiths, so many paths. That is the ultimate solution in today's world. There are so many sects, so much problem in this entire world. In the name of religion, what is going on? In the name of spirituality, it's not spirituality, actually the name of religion and this faith system. What is going on surrounding, we all can see this. That is the only thing, that ultimately one platform where those scientists, again, We call them rishis. They proclaim, Etad niyam nityamevatma samastham natah param veditavyam hi kinchit. We want to grasp that root of knowledge, knowing that no knowledge will remain unknown. That is the one call. And again, remember, we don't make some mistake that as a physicist look at the knowledge. Actually, there are many ways to reach the same goal. And there come, I'm very quickly, I'll skip the slides because you all know this. Later came Swami Vivekananda. This is a famous Parliament of Religion, Hall of Columbus. And what Swami Vivekananda established, he said that if the Parliament of Religion has shown anything to this world, it has proved that holiness, purity, charity are not exclusive possession of any church. And two important things had happened from Swamiji. We find A, the first is there was more to religion one had imagined, and B, look at this B, this is that there is a great necessity of religion as of science. Again, spirituality, here it is actually. And Vivekananda's exposition, religion or spirituality, it took science along, trusted and respected comrade. This is actually one famous book is there, written by Swami Buddhananda ji. So this is from that book, Can One Be Scientific and Yet Spiritual? So it's like that. Again, 1900, it was the Paris Congress, and where these two great sons of India in Paris Congress, they joined. Swami Vivekananda and you know his name, Jagadish Chandra Bose. In his name, one very, very famous central government, just like it is ISERS, one institute, the Bose Institute. Bose Institute, in his name it is there. So, Jagadish Chandra Bose, so they all, and this Vivekananda and J.C. Bose also, in his letter, you see, discourse, this is Royal Institution, May 10, 1901, and quickly coming to that, Jagadish Bose is telling, he was a wonderful scientist, and he discovered the seismograph, and he had the equal credit of discovering radio, of just like Marconi. So he did this. It will be of my own experience. It's not be out of context. I met once one of very famous scientist. His name was Professor B. Dasgupta. So he did his PhD in parasitology from London School of Tropical Medicine. He was a very famous professor in Calcutta University. So I went to his house once. He was my teacher. So I saw a number of books and all, Greek and all. Then I said, sir, what are you doing all this? He said, you see, science is not, to understand my subject, I need to learn many languages. So that is why I learned these things. Then he told me, I still recall, again, he is a very pakka scientist, and he did his PhD under Dr. J.J. Gurnam. Gurnam was a Nobel laureate. And he had that time publication in Nature and all, very famous professor. He passed away. So he told, see, if you are a student of science, you make yourself, in those days, I still recall, he said, if you are a student of science, make yourself your own entity capable so that the great truth can be expressed. It is just like, he gave the example of radio. Look at the radio. So waves are there, radio can only catch that wave. So make a device so that the great scientific truth can be expressed through you. Anyway, so where the Jagadish Bose said, you see, how can you draw the line of demarcation and say the physical ends and there's a physiology begins. And finally I checked all my data by checking manifold of this universe and to belong to the eternal truth. It was that I understood the first time the little of message proclaimed by my ancestors, because he told it is very difficult to find out this one after checking the facts and figures. You can browse this and come to know. So here we find the progressive experimental science and I'm almost ending up with a couple of minutes, I'll end up. So what is the difference between science and spirituality? Look at this. I'm wrapping up my talk here. So what is the difference? So you see this science, as I told, it is a description of facts with a maximum of completeness. And spirituality, it's a fact in another sense. Unlike scientific experiment, it's a doubt of the personal experience but not a private fact. Number two, spirituality is another facts and figures. It is journey towards. Aims of science to describe the impersonal facts and experience, and in case of spirituality, such a fact is predictable and verifiable. Number three, the fundamental, this postulate of science, the uniformity of nature. Now, in case of spirituality, the illumined state of existence, one can only see again God or any, his own completeness. For example, here, just one example I give. About synaptic transmission. So when one dendron and axon, there are synaptic transmission, there are neurotransmitters, acetylcholine, botulinum toxins and all, and there are flow of electrons. So potential difference has been created, right? So when, in E. coli, one transformation, one other chain at the time of transcription, RNA is being transcribed. So one bond is being 5' phosphate and 3' OH. How it is being prepared? So it is, it's a kind of a mixture of all, actually. Their chemistry, biology, physics, all comes together. So it is like that. Dynamism and growth, and in case of spirituality, the science, it is tools, a device, but in case of spirituality, the tool is sense organ, but ultimately, it is sense organ, but ultimate aim is to go beyond. And the major aspect of difference we have already discussed. What are the major aspects of difference? The clash between particular expression of spiritual belief, as I already told, and how to reconcile these two. So the attempts had been made, this calculation, you see, the clash between the particular expression, the clash with particular scientific philosophy and spiritual feeling. So here, the real knowledge, the scientific knowledge, there is a balance in the universe. If we find out, if we recap, as here we find spirituality, our device, our thing is your mind and intellect, and ultimately aim is going beyond. Science, we have used devices and our logic in other ways. And how can we be scientific and spiritual together? As a truly scientific mind, as I was telling you, being a truly scientific mind cannot close itself to any order of fact, and the entire mass of evidence available to various spheres knowing that claim of attention. So, you see, be a scientific mind, again, we don't accept anything as a student of science without any testimony. And again, the truly spiritual inquirer cannot close his mind any form or truth coming from any quarter. Look at this, especially when it comes from the tested source, and just like science. And you see, through the study of sciences, it is said the intellect will be quickened, the practice, spiritual discipline of mind will be purified. So these are the few points I would like to make. If you want, you can have this PPT. And the truly spiritual person with whom God is not a hypothetical assumption, but supreme fact of existence and experience. And for the science also, what proves or disprove can only uphold that, in that sense, the greater glory of God. Science is a kind of response. So these are actually two different responses. Science responses to truth one way, addresses spirituality just the other way. And this is the Swami Vivekananda here comes, as I already told. He told the emancipation of human being. What he said? What is religion? Religion is the manifestation of divinity. I started with the Swamiji's quotation. It is the manifestation of perfection. Here I end up with the reality, the divinity already in man. And our duty ahead. So we have to, in one word, if I conclude here, that we have to amalgamate both. And as I told, this is the Vidyamandira, as I told in my, when I started, this is the coinage of Swamiji. Thank you. Now, if you have some time, 5-10 minutes, if you have, so I'll be happy to receive question. I took 10 minutes extra. I told I'll wrap up 40 minutes, but it almost became 50 minutes. Anyway, anybody?
So I will just speak about something, not a question.
Tell me.
You use the word conviction. I will try. My thought is that the word should be intuition, what we build through practices. So
Very good. Very good question.
Another thing I mentioned, there is
Yeah.
a book called, I don't know how many people read it. I also don't read it, but somebody recommended it. There is a book called The Intuitive Scientist, Swami Vivekananda. So maybe this book encloses that
Good
the
question.
Swami Vivekananda himself is spiritual person is known, and somebody is he as a endorsed as a scientist, and the book is written by some previous director of ISRO.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else? Yes. I'll answer. Tell me.
In one point you told that, I mean, we have to have some knowledge without question. When the teacher was teaching us A, B, C, D,
Yeah.
we have to believe it without question. So when we are in a spiritual, we are about to start spiritual journey.
Yeah.
There are multiple institutions, multiple persons whose teachings are different.
Very good question.
Some of them actually do lead to a wrong direction.
Very good question. Thank you.
End up people in the worst possible way, people end up becoming terrorists actually.
Yeah. Thank you.
So
Okay,
how
so-
to determine which is wrong and which is correct?
Good question. So these two questions, briefly I answered. First, what Shondipan is telling, intuition. Actually, that is how, to answer first question, why it is not conviction, why we consider it intuition. Actually, that is how we are habituated to think. This is the first point. We are habituated to think that this is whatever. So can you, as the example what I gave, a teacher seeing one problem, suppose in statical electricity, some problem is there, right? So seeing the problem, the teacher is telling some algebra, for example. Seeing the problem itself, the teacher is telling you the solution, and he said you do it. How will you explain this? It is intuition or it is conviction? This is not intuition, this is conviction. Because how he is convinced, and how can he convince you? Because he practiced this same types of problems and he is established in a state that he can firmly tell you it is that. So this is not intuition, he is not telling you. The same thing is applicable so far as spirituality is concerned. So a person, a qualified person in spiritual life, he can tell you from this thing. There was one very famous Swami, he was one of the presidents of our order, Swami Vivekananda ji. He was, as I told you, he was practicing meditation, deep meditation. He used to practice, and he used to practice, focus on his Sahasrara head. So he had developed initially some problem happened. So he started developing some headache. So you see, Holy Mother, who actually initiated him, just once she looked at that Kali Krishna, his name was Kali Krishna. Just looking at, Mother said, where are you focusing? Where are you concentrating? He said, in this head. He said, no. First you start concentrating at your heart. So gradually you come up. So you should not take it in that sense, but initially for you, so see the capacity of a competent spiritual teacher or a spiritual guide. Seeing itself, she could find out what problem is having. Seeing your paper, seeing your approach. Suppose you set one experiment in your chemistry lab. So seeing the setup itself, your guide can find out. It happened in case of me many times. So I was setting up some experiments in lab. So the teacher came, my professor came and said, you do it in that way. Otherwise, it will not going to give you the expected yield. So that is not the intuition. But that is how actually our mindset actually taught us thinking that no, it cannot be that much conviction. That is intuition. So whatever way you want to understand, but that is the thing. And to answer his question, second question, very interesting. So Swamiji, he mentioned in the, if you read the first lecture, I think all of you have read the Chicago address, right? So Swamiji, he mentioned Ruchinam, Vaichitra Dvija Kutila Nana Pathadusham, etc. Means diverse maybe the courses of different rivers. Some are straight, some are curved, some are zigzag, but ultimately all rivers come and mingle to ultimately come to the sea or ocean. Similarly, diverse may be the courses, diverse may be the fate, ultimately come to the same platform, the same reality, unique reality, God. So, to answer your question, you have to find out a qualified teacher. You see, just now I mentioned that incident, the first atom bomb. So, because of this friction in the particle, it gives enormous energy. But since the atom bomb they prepared, and that brought so much problem to humanity that time, even today, hydrogen bomb or atom bomb, somewhere it is charged. So, do we have to conclude in that way that all nuclear research will stop? It is actually human being who make this problem. Sri Ramakrishna used to give a very, very beautiful simile. He used to say, this is one light, you see. Using this light, you can read a good book, or someone can do some mischief. Light cannot be blamed. It's the same scalpel. You know, I'm a student of biology, so we're very much habituated to the scalpel. Scalpel is one simple instrument. With that, using the same scalpel, one doctor, right, he can save the life. Using the same scalpel, one hooligan can behead. This is a jugular vein, you see. If this somebody puts it here, one incision here, immediately the oxygen supply, the blood supply to our brain, medulla oblongata will stop. Immediately one person will die. So it's the same scalpel. So scalpel should not be blamed for that. So the problem is with human being. To R is human, you see. So that's why you have to find out the people and how you know that. Who is good and who is bad. How you know that. It is not that when, as you told, many people are following somebody, he is very famous. So you all are right now, even from time immemorial, you have a lot of information. And again, if you are truly scientific, you have to browse the literature, who have done this, and what are the results. It is not, it's a kind of studying Amazon before purchasing any item. But the feedback is not like that. Sometimes study. If you are truly scientific, if your mind is open, you see, we the students of science sometimes become very much superstitious. But we always forget that, again, our questioning, our rationality. Oh, these people is telling you. Sometimes scientists also, they become very much superstitious. What he knows. I suggest them, if you are a student of science, why are you forgetting the thumb rules? First we will see, we will read, we experiment, we observe, we read the inference, and we do it, browse it, literature, and if possible we try to set the experiment and then come to the conclusion. Why are you refuting, telling this old book written in Sanskrit, this is testimony, this is verifiable, etc. You read this. When I was a student, you'll be astonished to know some very scholarly person told me, as we do here, you are reading Bhagavad Gita, it's a war cry. What a silly thing. Then I asked him, sir, with all respect, due respect, have you ever read Gita? There are people, even today will find, have you ever read? No. Then how you know that? You claim that you are a professor of biological science. You do the gene silencing, you may do that. You are the teacher who do the functional genomics. You do lot things with functional genomics. I am not criticizing, I have full respect. But have you read? That is the thing. So you have to find out the people and Then you choose. Then you choose. Anyone? I think time is up.
So I would like to ask an
Please, please. Thank you.
So, could you differentiate religion and spirituality once more?
Yeah. So as I told, any organized religion has few segments, few parts. One is the core philosophical part on which the entire structure of religion is standing. Core philosophical part. That spirituality is that particular area. And in India, let me tell you how this religion or spirituality came into existence. How it came into existence. It is called darshana. Darshana means first vision came. First came vision, darshana. In West, we call it philosophia, love for knowledge. But it is in India, it was always darshana. First came our vision. Then much later, all those visions were written. It is documented. And not only in, just don't think that somebody has documented simply. If you read the commentary of one particular idea, commentary of 3, 4, 5 people, you will be astonished to see what intellectual vigor they showed. Same commentary on Bhagavad Gita, you read Ramanuja, you read Shankaracharya, you read Baladev Vidyabhushan. And for again, this is Sanskrit. So if you read, you will find what scholarly vigor they have shown. So, the spirituality, philosophical part of that religion, mostly spirituality deals with that. Then comes other thing, how to practice. So spirituality, how can you practice? But it is not becomes possible for all people to practice spirituality. How? I just tell you, don't take it otherwise. You are here in this institute and think of, just you go beyond the, this campus, the wall of this campus. What will you find? This is India. While coming, I saw thousands of people, millions of people. If you have the good opportunity to understand this intellectual, at least to understand this intellectually. What about other people who are staying there? I am not belittling anyone, but for them also you need something. Only the educated people can practice spirituality or religion? No. So for them, there are some rituals so that they can follow at least that part. Ritualistic religion. So religion has this different types of part, ritualistic part, and to popularize religion, popularize this spirituality. Religion, there are some stories. The story of Mahabharata, this is Purana. So if a person, suppose he can at least read, oh, acha, look at the life of Rama, look at the life of Arjuna. So how virtuous they were, how good they are. This is called Ram Rajya. Means what? Rama means not the king only, but a person who is not only virtuous, but he has the feeling for his subjects. So all are happy, a very mighty king. So comparing the life of Rama, they can orient themselves, right? The ideal of Krishna, so that they can, they try to make their life, doing that. So that is the other. So these are the difference actually. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Maharajji, for a really insightful session. I am sure we all enjoyed it immensely. And I would like to thank all of you for attending the session and making it a success. And Maharajji has brought some books from the ashrama on Swami Vivekananda. So on your way out, I would request all of you to take the books along with you. Yes, we are continuing our meditation session tomorrow. It will be online. So I would request everybody to join in tomorrow at 9:30. Thank you.
Thank you.